Hi, this is Todd with ESOTERIC Car Care. Today we're going to be talking about the multi-step polishing process. Okay, multi-step polishing process. That typically involves a two-step process. Compounding is your first stage, finish polishing is your second stage. What's the difference between that and some of the other polishing processes? I'll talk about those real quick, and then we'll get more details about this. You really have 3 to 4 different levels of polishing that you're going to go with. So when somebody calls and they're looking for a detail or a polish, you need to talk a little bit more specifics there because there are a lot of different levels. You kind of start off at the very beginning level, which would be what we call like a quick polish. You're going to go over the car maybe an hour with kind of an all-in-one product. It's going to be a cleaner, a polish, and a protectant. You're only going to get so much correction out of that. Stepping up from there into the polishing process that's going to be the most popular in the detailing industry, also if you're a do-it-yourselfer, is a one-step process. And we've talked more about that in other videos. You're going to be using one kind of pad, one kind of polish, and that can take us 6 to 8 hours or so to do it properly. With that, depending on the paint, you can get anywhere from, say, 60% correction on the low end. We've had some cars you get up to 90% correction on it, just depending on the paint style with it. So that is the most popular that's out there, and it's relatively quick. It's relatively easy to do. It doesn't take a real high level of skill set. From there, you jump up into the multi-step, and just how it sounds, you've got a couple of different processes. You're going to start off with your compounding process, and then you're going to end up with your finish polishing process. With this, about 75% of your time is going to be involved in the compounding stage. That's where the most work is, that's where the most labor is, that's where the most cost is if you're going to a detailer to have it done. We can get 90-95% correction out of it, but we have some cars that we want to do what we call a restorative level. And that's when we're just going over the car to chase down as many defects safely as we possibly can, and we're going to a lot of other levels, but that's a topic for another video that we'll do. So you can see there's a wide variety of what you're doing there. And like I said, for the do-it-yourselfer, one step is probably going to be what you're using most of the time. But if you want to get into the realm of multi-stage, just realize it's going to take you a lot more time, because that compounding stage you can't rush. A multi-stage, like I said, typically involves 2 polishing processes. Now, if you're using the right combination of equipment and techniques and everything else, 2 steps is all you need. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that still think that you need to do 3 steps to get the job done, and that's not the case in the least bit. If you're still doing 3 steps, as we've discussed in other videos, something is missing. 1, you want a good machine. We prefer a dual action machine like the Rupus LHR 15 Mark II here. Does a fantastic job. It's much safer than a rotary, particularly if you're a newer person to the trade. So you have a good machine, you want a variety of pads. Here, 95% of the time, we're using the Meguiar's microfiber pad, and we're using a Jescar correcting compound. And then for the finishing stage, you're going to need a finishing pad, a finishing polish, and then something like Geon Prep. That just prepares the surface before polishing, and then you wipe the car down between polishing stages, and then once you're done with the finished polishing stage, you wipe it down with that also to remove any of the polish residue, be able to inspect the surface, make sure that you actually got everything, and get it prepared for wax, sealant, coating, whatever you're going to put on top of it. Another thing that you're going to want is a couple of different towels or different style of towels. Reason why you want to do that is because it's easier as you're working on the car to keep things separated. You may say the red towel, for instance, is going to be your compounding towel. Your black towel is going to be your finish polishing towel. That way you don't accidentally grab a towel that may have compound in it to wipe it down the finishing stage, because you can scratch it up. With our DOI meter, we can show that the pad will quickly drop off and cut and finish. So you want to keep them fresh. The fresher the pads you use, the better that your results that you're going to get. Likewise with your towels, you use plenty of them, change them out regularly, because you don't want to mar the finish that you just polished up because you're trying to push a towel too far. So once you have this combination of tools and products here, you're going to be able to get the job done efficiently and effectively. And once again, your correction rate should be in that 90 to 95% on most vehicles. You're always going to have outliers on there. For instance, we had a Porsche 930 Turbo in here a couple of weeks ago that no matter what we did, it just was not going to work in a two-step process. Some panels took 4 and 5 step, and each panel required us to come up with a completely different process. But that's an outlier, and we were going into that as a restorative level detail, so we knew that we weren't going to just do a two-step process. But most of the time, you have this combination right here, and you're going to be able to take care of everything that you need that can safely be corrected. Well, hopefully that answered some of your questions. If you find that you got more, make sure and leave it in the comments below. Subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're constantly updating new videos on detailing tips, tools, and techniques. That's about all for today. For Esoteric Car Care, I'm Todd Cooperrider. Thanks. We'll see you again next time.